think of it as forged. Best way I can explain. A much stronger steel, hardened steel is really, not to over glorify anything here. The basket that holds the clutches together in late of 23 got a much stouter steel construction of the basket, so the steel wasn't as soft. And here's my 2 cents on that. So all the 2020s through 23 model years, they're not dune transmissions, and by definition, dune it literally comes from your use. It's a much softer transmission, and if Grandpa just hauls his butt around in his boat once in a while, he's never going to know the difference. Now, if you tow, especially at lower speeds, right, where you're always dropping and picking up gears, that impact, yes, it's very so slight, it's so minute, right? It's so little, but it's there. So all the time it's grabbing, it's impacting that basket. Those 2020 to 23 trannies are going to wear out a lot quicker. And of course, I put my 23 through the ringer, and by 10,000 miles, I was already feeling that buck. There's also a bushing. I was told there's a bushing. The torque converter sits on, if I'm not mistaken. I do not know if that was addressed. What I do know for a fact is that model year 24 truck that I had a much better tuning in it, but also that transmission never fluctuated. It never had a buck. It never had there's no weirdness to it. My 23 wasn't tuned right. It was skipping a lot of gears. It was kind of like all over the place. And I knew that could be addressed, but the whole buck thing, it really threw me off. By 10,000 miles, guys. Yes, I put it through the ringer just like a driver would. Set the cruise, let the tranny engine do its thing, and let it go haywire. Simply said. And did I let it self-destruct? When it got too far out of line, I would intervene. But for the most part, what do drivers do? They get up to speed, they hit the cruise, and let the truck figure out the rest. So with that being said, by 10,000 miles, my 23 had an ever so slight buck, and it didn't happen from when you got on the throttle, you didn't feel it, but it was like the smooth. It was the territory of light to medium throttle. Then you got the clunk. I let the dealership that I traded in know that this needs to be addressed. I highly doubt they addressed it, but who am I to say? I don't know for a fact. I'm speculating. Just the fact that I traded in the next day it was sold, so go figure, right? Anyways, fellas, so that's the 23. Now, back to the 24 that I had, and that I've ever, I love that truck, and I was just I surprised myself, because in 2024, in my books, there's nothing better than that Ford on the market, because I was ready to pull the trigger. I could have had a Denali Ultimate at invoice. That alone would have saved me. Excuse me. That alone would have saved me a whopping, close to 10 grand, guys. Alright, let's get back this thing on cruise. I was high 91s. I was offered high 91s by a GM, a local GM, versus me paying 102 for my limited. So I did not win any trophies for going for that limited. It wasn't cheap or anything. But once I got in the GM, that was just a no. That interior is just not big enough. It's annoying how small that. And the seat was the deal breaker. Anyways, back to the Fords. So in 24, when I bought this Ford, it was just like the best thing I could see on the market. But it impressed me so much that I told my buddy when I went to pick up my Ram 3500, which is this thing, dude, I'm not even going to be bummed out if I don't pick up that mega cab anymore, because my longtime viewers know I got my butt handed to me in 22. All my model year 23s but one, so 7 out of 8 22 model years that I had alternated in 23. So welcome to Ram, says the guy that built a company on Ram trucks and almost got everything beat out of him by Ram. Anyways, that's a conversation Yes, the exhaust brake was a joke, and that was probably my biggest gripe. I later learned that the seats on the regular seats, non-max recline, are far more comfortable seats. Even though, by just at a quick glance, they look much lesser of a seat. The limiteds, or now the Platinum Plus seats, look a lot more. There's more real estate, so more of a couch, so to speak, right, than a small little automobile chair. So, anywho's, with that being said, I picked up my 24. I drove it. I loved it for what it was, and I had a very positive experience. So much so that once I picked up my 3500 Ram, for 2 weeks I didn't give up that Ford just to make sure I wasn't going to regret it. I've been that hurt by Ram. Ram has, man, you guys done something to me. Anyways, so the 24 never skipped a beat with the transmission. The 24 never gave me a reason to bash the transmission. Not once. Nothing. Only thing I did not like about the transmission is the temps that it runs in, but that's by design. That's the way the manufacturer had it designed, and can't fault them for them. It's their ingenuity. What do I know better? You know, if it was up to me, I'd stick to the 180 temps, and that thing was always, 200, 210, and that. And I hate it. I hate those temps. That's just what it is. Unlike this thing, 138, boy. That's all you're getting out of her. I don't know how healthy that is. You're not moving you're not moving enough heat out of that oil, or you're not running the oil hot enough to move the condensation out of that. But anyways, I guess that's a conversation for another time here. But anywho's, what I wanted to underline, my 24 like that, but now my 26 450, 75% of its life has hauled heavy and oddball stuff. I want to say 80-85%, but I'll be conservative. I'll say 75% of the 20,000, I think, roughly, that the truck has on it right now, has hauled heavy oddball stuff. And you're just like, well, gee, that's what it's made for. Guys, with the transmission, the experience I had in that 23, this 450 would have had that tranny blown on it. I mean, we talking some serious weight behind that truck. Max capacity for 75% of its life as bare minimum, as a bare minimum. And I'm not talking just weight. I'm saying like a big old parachute. That thing's hauled tanker trucks. Tanker as far as, those, I call them not a pickup, but not a semi, the FL70 series, the M2, halfway semi thing, 1-axle, 2-axle deal. With the tank sprayers in the back. We've hauled just the tank and the sprayers. That's easy, but that's just an air drag. Nothing big on that. Hauled deuce. Hauled a couple of heavy loads of steel. The steel is very aerodynamic, so that's not a big deal. It's just a bunch of weight. Anyways, fellas, not a single hiccup out of that transmission. Not one. Yeah, still runs 200, 210. You could really get it hot to 213. No, it's been more, maybe 220 in the summer, but that's just part of the operation. No bucks, no jerks, no retardation. Just a solid, consistent transmission. So, what's the conclusion of this video? This transmission, thus far, is a solid, stout transmission. So, on a scale of 1, 2, or 3, 1 being subpar, 2 being okay transmission, and 3 being just stout, overbuilt, very promising, very overbuilt transmission. I would put the 2020 to 23 in the okay. You're not screwed, you're not doomed, but be careful, especially if you're around town a lot of, I think it would take 20,000 pounds consistently hauling around town to blow that thing up by 60,000 miles. Now, if you drive it aggressively, it'll go out sooner. But if I, for 10,000 miles, solely on the interstate, could do what I did to that transmission, and 2-3 runs of heavy, and rest of it being light stuff, yeah, you're definitely not going to have a whole lot of luck around town hauling heavy, right? So, and then the 24s and up till today's day, I did not know of any foul there in the good. As long as you don't keep your hammer down and be an idiot, just like the stout stuff, you can destroy it too. You're just okay. Take care of that transmission, and I'm not worried. I will do another video what I am worried about the CP4 in that truck, but the transmission is not my concern. And only mileage is going to prove me right or wrong. But, you know, just my experience at 10,000, the 23 was bucking, and the 24 at 35,000. Both of them are just stupid low miles. I get it. But it's kind of has all the odds stacked against itself at 10,000 miles if it's bucking. So hopefully that makes sense to y'all. And then this transmission, I would also put the Ison in this category, the stout, the third position, right? Very overbuilt, very stout transmission. I'd also put the Allison 1000 in this territory. I know the Allison is a very sensitive transmission. It's more so technologically than it is mechanically. Mechanically, it's just a solid transmission. But because it does it strategically, it can handle a lot more. It's a good transmission. I'm not gonna take away from it. But with that being said, the Ison, the Allison 1000, the ZF, I can't say enough good things about this transmission. I love it. I can't wait till this thing has 400,000 on it, because I think this transmission will outlive the motor. And that's the sense I'm getting out of it. It never struggles, no matter what you throw on it. And if I have 2 hours, guys, I will do you a solid one. There's a load coming up. The load's going to be about 19,000 pounds of steel on a probably about 9,000 pound trailer. So what is that? 28,000 pounds behind the truck. I know that's a little or significantly overweight on this pickup. That load is for the 450. But if I have 2 hours, I will bring it up and down this highway for you guys, and I will record the process. There's not much, but you guys saw a couple rolling hills, and show you how this thing does versus that, and how the transmission gets affected with temperature and whatnot. And no, I'm not telling you this is a stout transmission, because the temperature is so low. I'm actually not okay. Like, if I could help it, I would like to see that temp about 160 to 180 bracket. 160 on a cold day, chilling, and 180 on a hot, hard working day. But I've never seen this thing in 180. It's starting to escape my memory, but I think I've got it up to mid 160s. Anyways, so I'll throw this out there. The GM, whatever they got going on with their transmission right now, GM's 10-speed is a soft metal, blah blah blah, and all their what's that they're trying to improve right now. Anyways, the hydraulic system that they're trying to put into that valve body. You guys know what a valve body is, so they're trying to come up with the main hydraulic part of it. It's skipping my mind. Yeah, so it works with the valve body. They're trying to fix that as well. So I would put that in a dumpster right now. I mean, it's such a big issue right now with all the GM owners. So, but once again, you know, average Joe is most likely not going to have this issue, wearing out issue. If it goes haywire and locks up your tranny, no one can, you know, save you from that. And they've been having that issue as well. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this video, guys. This was supposed to be a short little video, but I just want to share my experience. You guys keep watching, I keep posting. It's just how that one works. There's no reason to post if people aren't watching. Anyways, guys, as always, may the good Lord bless you. May y'all have a mighty fine day, and I'll keep you posted on that. I'm looking forward to actually hooking up to that 20,000+ trailer and loading. Showing you guys how this thing does, because it's a pretty safe highway, not that much traffic around here, and I just want to see how hard it's going to work that. Obviously, ambient temperature has a lot to do with it. We're going into winter right now, 47 degrees out, and yeah. Anyways, as always, may the Lord bless you. May y'all mighty fine day. Ciao.